When Ethan Hawthorne, a reclusive billionaire and single dad, hires a temporary nanny, he expects nothing more than someone to keep his 8-year-old daughter entertained while he handles a business emergency. He certainly doesn't expect the week to unravel secrets, stir emotions he thought he'd buried, and put his family in grave danger. But on the 5th day, Lily, a precocious little girl with a big heart, says something that stops Ethan in his tracks. One sentence, one innocent wish. And just like that, everything changes. In less than a week, a seemingly ordinary nanny enters their lives and sets off a chain of events involving love, betrayal, and a shocking revelation that will put Ethan's heart and his daughter's safety on the line. You won't believe what happens next. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more intriguing stories. Ethan Hawthorne never hired help longer than absolutely necessary. As the reclusive CEO of Hawthorne Innovations, he'd built his empire alone, brick by brutal brick, after losing his wife 3 years earlier. Ever since, his heart was locked behind the kind of walls only grief can build. So when his business trip came up unexpectedly, he needed a nanny fast. Enter Maya Carter, a warm, bright-eyed early childhood education student who was filling in for a friend's emergency. She was supposed to be a temporary solution. 1 week, nothing more. But from the moment she stepped into Ethan's sprawling glass and marble penthouse, she felt the coldness of the man who lived there. And from the moment he looked at her, Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Something he didn't have time for. Still, Maya bonded almost instantly with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. They baked together. They drew pictures in chalk on the rooftop terrace. They hung glow-in-the-dark stars on Lily's ceiling so she could sleep without fear. Day by day, the penthouse filled with laughter again, and Ethan found himself lingering at doorways, watching the two of them like they were a life he'd forgotten how to dream about. By day 5, something had shifted. Ethan returned home earlier than usual. He found Maya and Lily curled up on the living room floor, building an improbable castle of pillows and books. Lily looked up at her father, her eyes sparkling with a secret she couldn't hold any longer. "Daddy," she announced proudly, "I made a wish today." He smiled. "A wish? About what?" Lily stood, brushed glitter off her dress, and said with complete seriousness, "I wished Maya could stay forever, and that she could be my new mom." The room went still. Ethan felt the air punch out of him. Maya froze, her cheeks flooding with color. "Lily," Maya whispered gently, "that's a very big wish." But Lily only nodded. "I know, but I heard you crying last night, Daddy. You miss Mommy, and I think Maya makes you smile again." Ethan swallowed hard. He hadn't realized anyone had heard. His gaze lifted to Maya's, and for the first time, neither of them looked away. Something raw, vulnerable, and undeniable flickered in his eyes. Something Maya wasn't sure she was ready for. Something Ethan wasn't sure he could stop. Before either of them could speak, Ethan's phone buzzed sharply in his pocket. He glanced at the screen, and his entire expression changed. The color drained from his face. His jaw clenched. His heartbeat thundered. "Ethan?" Maya asked softly. "What's wrong?" He looked at her, torn, almost afraid. It's about your job," he said quietly. "Something's happened. Something that changes everything." Maya felt a chill race up her spine. "What do you mean?" she whispered. But Ethan didn't answer. He only met her gaze with eyes full of secrets, and then he stepped toward her as if he had to. Ethan's hand trembled slightly as he pressed "ignore" on the buzzing phone. But the look in his eyes betrayed him. Danger, urgency, and fear. Maya reached out instinctively. "Please, you have to tell me." He ran a hand through his hair, his mind racing. "It's my company. Someone just leaked information, sensitive information. And it's serious. If it gets out, it could ruin everything I've built. And not just the company. My family." Maya's heart skipped a beat. She wanted to pull him close, but there was a distance there now, a wall she hadn't expected. "We can fix it," she said softly, trying to steady her own voice. "We'll figure it out together." Ethan looked at her like she'd just spoken a foreign language. "Together? Maya, you barely know me." This isn't some movie where everything gets wrapped up neatly. If I involve you, if Lily gets involved. Lily, oblivious to the tension, tugged on Maya's sleeve. Are you going to play with me, Maya? Ethan's gaze softened for a moment as he watched them. But the phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't just any alert. It was a cryptic text from an unknown number. We know she's there. Don't think you can protect her. Maya's stomach dropped. Who's there? Ethan's lips pressed into a thin line. He realized something terrifying. The danger wasn't just corporate. Someone had found out about Lily. And now, by extension, Maya. His instincts screamed at him to protect them, like he hadn't protected anyone in years. I need you to promise me something, Ethan said, voice low but firm. No matter what happens, you and Lily stay safe. You have to trust me, no questions. Maya swallowed hard, her mind racing. I trust you. Ethan grabbed Lily's hand, then Maya's, and for a split second, the tension cracked, replaced by the strange, magnetic pull that had been building all week. His heart ached at the thought of losing them, and he knew then that letting Maya go after this week was no longer an option. But before he could explain further, the penthouse door clicked, slowly, deliberately. Ethan froze. His pulse thundered. Maya felt Lily stiffen beside her. A shadow fell across the threshold, and a voice, cold, controlled, and unfamiliar, cut through the room. Good evening, Mr. Hawthorne. Miss Carter. I think we need to talk. Ethan stepped protectively in front of Maya and Lily, his jaw tight. Who are you? The figure didn't answer immediately. Instead, the lights in the penthouse flickered, and in that heartbeat Ethan realized nothing would ever be the same, not his company, not his family, not his heart. And then the intruder stepped forward. The shadow stepped fully into the room, and Ethan's pulse surged. The figure was tall, sharp-suited, and carrying an aura of authority and menace. Who are you? Ethan repeated, his protective instinct kicking into overdrive. The intruder smiled thinly. Call me Mr. Cross. I represent interests that don't like your company thriving, Mr. Hawthorne. And I especially don't like anyone close to you, someone vulnerable, being left unprotected. Maya instinctively moved in front of Lily, shielding her, her heart hammering. Stay back. You don't know what you're dealing with. Mr. Cross raised a hand lazily, as if amused by her bravado. Oh, I know exactly who I'm dealing with. And don't worry, I'm not here to hurt the little girl yet. I'm here for her father. Ethan's jaw tightened. Leave. Now. The man smirked. You can't just wish away problems, Mr. Hawthorne, especially when they've found you and the people you care about. For a moment, the room froze. Maya's mind raced. How had someone found out about Lily? How had this escalated so fast? But even in that panic, a surge of determination rose in her chest. She stepped closer to Ethan. Whatever this is, we face it together. You can't do this alone, Ethan. Not anymore. He looked at her, and in that gaze, the walls around his heart began to crumble. He wanted to pull her close, to hold her and promise Lily that no one could touch them, but the danger was real, and the intruder's calm menace reminded him that this wasn't just about feelings anymore. Mr. Cross's phone buzzed, and he glanced at the screen, irritation flickering across his face. Seems my patience is running thin. Mr. Hawthorne, I'll give you one chance to make this easy. Step aside or... Suddenly, Lily stepped forward, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny. Daddy, she said firmly, her small voice echoing in the vast penthouse, you can't let him scare you. You're my hero. And Maya is my friend. Don't let him win. Ethan's heart ached. Her bravery, her trust in him, her tiny insistence that he fight, pushed something over the edge. He stepped toward Mr. Cross, muscles coiled, eyes blazing. You don't get to threaten my family. Not now. Not ever. Mr. Cross's smirk widened, but before he could speak, the lights went out completely, plunging the penthouse into darkness. A low hum filled the air, followed by a distant click, a sound that made Ethan's stomach drop. When the lights flickered back on, Maya was gone. Lily was sobbing, and in the center of the room, there was a single envelope with Maya's name on it. Ethan snatched it up, hands shaking. He tore it open, and inside was a single line, typed in stark black letters. If you want to see her again, come alone. Midnight. The docks. Ethan's heart froze. Fear, fury, and something else, a desperate, unspoken ache, flooded through him. He looked down at Lily, her small hand clutching his, her tears wet against his knuckles. I'm going to get her back, he whispered. I promise you. I won't lose her. Lily sniffled, her voice trembling. Be careful, Daddy. Ethan pulled her close, and for a fleeting heartbeat, everything felt impossible, yet necessary. Because love, and the promise of protecting it, was never going to be safe. The docks were silent except for the lapping of water against the rusting piers and the distant echo of seagulls. Mist hung low over the harbor, curling around the old cargo containers like ghostly fingers. Ethan's breath came in shallow, controlled bursts as he approached the meeting point, his leather jacket pulled tight against the chill. He clutched the envelope Mr. Cross had left him, the single line of black text burned into his mind. If you want to see her again, come alone. Midnight. The docks. His mind raced. Alone? But leaving Lily behind was never an option. He'd make sure she was safe, hidden upstairs, under lock and key, while he faced this. Then he saw her, Maya, bound to a metal post near a stack of crates, her eyes wide but defiant. Even in fear, she radiated a bravery that made his chest ache. Ethan, she whispered, her voice low, you shouldn't have come alone. He ran to her, kneeling in front of her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I told you, Maya. I don't lose people I care about. Not you. Not Lily. Not anyone who's part of my family. Her eyes softened. For a second, just a second, the world outside melted away. Then a shadow moved from the crates. Mr. Cross stepped into the dim light, his silhouette sharp against the mist. Ah, Mr. Hawthorne, he said smoothly. I see you took my advice. Alone. Brave or foolish? You decide. Ethan rose, fists clenched. Release her. Now. Cross's smile widened, cold and calculating. Oh, I will be in my own time. But first, a little negotiation. He gestured, and two men emerged from the shadows, circling like predators. Ethan's eyes darted to Maya. Stay calm, he whispered. I've got this. Maya shook her head, defiance sparking. No, we're in this together. Don't think I'll sit back while you risk yourself for me. The words hit him like a jolt of electricity. She wasn't just a nanny. She wasn't just Lily's friend. She was the pulse of life he hadn't realized he was missing. And suddenly, the stakes weren't just about survival, they were about losing her too. Before Ethan could respond, the men lunged. Time slowed. Ethan moved with precision, blocking one and throwing the other into the stack of crates. Maya, surprisingly agile, kicked one assailant hard, sending him sprawling into the water. Cross laughed, clapping slowly. I must admit, you two make quite the pair. But it won't be enough. Ethan stepped forward, his voice low and dangerous. You don't know what love can make someone do. Cross's grin faltered, just slightly. He hadn't expected them, their bond, their courage. In that tense heartbeat, Ethan and Maya exchanged a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Then Cross lunged, and Ethan caught him in a grapple that sent both men tumbling perilously close to the edge of the pier. Water splashed, the mist thickened, and Ethan realized something terrifying. If he miscalculated, both of them could fall, and Maya's life hung in the balance. He tightened his grip, muscles straining, and whispered fiercely, I'm not letting you take her. Not her. Not anyone I love. Cross's eyes widened, then he smirked, almost impressed. Clever. But clever doesn't always win. Suddenly, from the shadows behind them, a third figure appeared, someone Ethan had never expected, someone who could tip the scales in ways neither he nor Cross could predict. And just as the first hand reached for Maya, Ethan's heart pounded as he glanced over his shoulder. Emerging from the shadows was a figure he never expected, tall, sleek, and moving with a predator's grace. It was Detective Serena Blake, a former FBI agent turned private security consultant. She had been hired months ago by a mysterious client to protect someone at risk, but Ethan hadn't known. Until now. "Ethan," she said, her voice calm but sharp, "step back. I've been tracking Cross and his organization for weeks. You're in over your head." Cross's grin faltered, his eyes narrowing. So this little game just got more interesting." Ethan didn't step back. He stood in front of Maya, shielding her, muscles coiled for the next move. "You wait," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "You don't touch her." Serena moved quickly, taking the men by surprise. With calculated precision, she disarmed one and swept the other off his feet. Cross's smirk tightened. He had underestimated her. Maya, freed from the post, clutched Ethan's arm. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. But the gratitude in her eyes was mixed with something deeper, relief, admiration, and an unspoken connection. Ethan looked down at her, his chest tightening. "You scared me," he said, voice raw. "Don't ever scare me like that again." Her lips quirked into a small, teasing smile. "I think I like it when you worry." Before Ethan could respond, Cross lunged again, faster than either of them expected. Serena blocked him, but in the chaos, Cross made a break for a waiting speedboat, disappearing into the misty night. Ethan's jaw clenched. "He's not gone for good." Serena gave him a curt nod. "No, but you two aren't alone anymore. You've got allies." Maya reached for Ethan's hand. "I'm not leaving your side," she said firmly, her warmth radiating in the cold night air. Ethan's fingers intertwined with hers instinctively, a surge of emotion he couldn't suppress. In the danger, the chaos, the adrenaline, he realized something vital. He had fallen for her. But before he could pull her close, Serena's voice cut sharply through the tension. "Ethan, listen. Cross didn't act alone. Whoever's behind this, they know more about your daughter than you think." Ethan's blood ran cold. He turned to Maya, seeing the concern mirrored in her eyes. "Lily." The thought of his daughter's safety clawed at him. "Then we fight," he said, jaw set, eyes blazing. "Whatever it takes. Together." Maya squeezed his hand. "Together." But in the foggy harbor night, a shadow lingered, watching. And as Cross disappeared into the dark waters, a chilling voice whispered into the mist. "He won't protect them all, and soon you'll have to choose." Ethan stiffened, his grip on Maya tightening. The love that had just begun was about to be tested by forces neither of them could have imagined. The night air hung heavy over the penthouse when Ethan finally returned with Maya, their hearts still racing from the docks. Lily had been safe, tucked under blankets, but her wide eyes told Ethan one thing: she had sensed every moment of danger. He knelt beside her bed, brushing her hair back gently. "I promise, nothing is going to hurt you. Not ever." Lily clutched his hand tightly. "I know, Daddy. But what about Maya? Will she be okay?" Ethan looked up at Maya, whose hand rested protectively on Lily's. The fear in her eyes mirrored his own. Fear, yes, but also something else. Trust, hope, and unspoken love. Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. Another message from an unknown number, typed in icy black letters. "Time to choose, Mr. Hawthorne. Your daughter, your heart, which will you risk?" Ethan's chest tightened. The threat was no longer vague. Cross, or whoever was behind him, was forcing a choice. A cruel, impossible choice. Maya met his gaze. "Whatever happens, we face it together. You're not alone." Her words made his heart twist. He realized in that moment that the love he felt for her wasn't just a fleeting attraction. It was a tether, pulling him from the walls of grief he had built around himself after his wife died. And yet, Lily, his daughter, the most precious part of his life. He could not risk her safety, not for anything. He turned to the phone again. The next message arrived immediately. "Midnight. The abandoned warehouse. Come alone, or lose everything." Ethan clenched his fists. "I have to go," he said, voice trembling. "It's the only way to keep them safe." Maya's hand gripped his. "You're not going alone. You and I, together. You can't do this without me." Ethan hesitated. Part of him wanted to protect her by keeping her away, to face the danger alone. But the truth was undeniable. He couldn't imagine facing it without her. He leaned closer, voice low, urgent. Maya, if anything happens? She cut him off, placing her fingers on his lips. Nothing's going to happen. Not while we're together. The clock ticked toward midnight. The warehouse loomed in the distance, dark and forbidding. Shadows moved inside like predators waiting for them. Ethan's heart thundered as he stepped forward, Maya by his side, ready to confront whoever, or whatever, had threatened his family. And yet, in the back of his mind, one terrifying thought lingered. What if the choice isn't between them and the threat, but between the woman he loves and the daughter he can't live without? The warehouse doors creaked open. A single light flickered inside. And then a figure stepped out. Not Cross. Not Serena. Someone entirely unexpected. Ethan froze. Maya grabbed his arm. The figure's smile was slow, deliberate. And as the dim light fell across their face, Ethan's stomach dropped. You finally came, the voice said, and it was someone he thought he'd never see again. The figure stepped fully into the flickering light of the abandoned warehouse, and Ethan's blood ran cold. It wasn't Cross. It wasn't Serena. It was Isabella Hawthorne, his late wife. That couldn't be. Ethan stumbled back, disbelief twisting his features. Maya's hand gripped his arm tightly, anchoring him. Who is that? Ethan's voice caught in his throat. It can't be her. She died. Isabella's smile was slow, unsettling. Her eyes, however, were the same. Piercing. Familiar. Alive. I know what you're thinking, she said, her voice soft but commanding. But I'm very much alive. And you've been very busy, ignoring a lot, haven't you, Ethan? Ethan's mind raced. And what did this have to do with Cross? Maya whispered almost to herself. This doesn't feel real. Ethan's fists clenched. What do you want, Isabella? Why are you here? Her smile widened, chillingly calm. I'm here because you have something I want. Something I always wanted, your family. Your loyalty. Your heart. And now, your daughter. Ethan froze. His mind screamed. Lily. Maya. Cannot. He will not let her touch them. Maya stepped forward, placing herself between Ethan and Isabella. Stay away from them, she shouted. Do you hear me? I don't care who you are. Isabella's eyes flicked to Maya, then back to Ethan. So she's the one. Her gaze softened ever so slightly. The one you've allowed yourself to feel again. I see it in you, Ethan, and it will make this easier. Ethan's heart lurched, torn. He loved Maya. He needed Maya. But the shadow of Isabella, the woman he had thought dead, threatened to undo everything. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the far side of the warehouse. Cross appeared, flanked by men, grinning like a predator. I see we have complications, he said. This is getting more interesting by the minute. Ethan stepped forward, shielding Maya instinctively. You're not touching anyone I love. Isabella tilted her head, smiling faintly. We'll see, Ethan. Soon you'll have to choose. And you can't have it all. Maya's hand found Ethan's again. Their fingers intertwined. Whatever it is, whatever you're forced to choose, we face it together. Don't let her control you. Ethan nodded, jaw set, resolve hardening. Together, he whispered back. But in that tense heartbeat, one chilling realization struck them both. The next move could destroy everything, or finally bring them closer than ever. And just as Ethan lunged toward Cross, Isabella's voice rang out behind him. Choose wisely, Ethan, because tonight, love may not be enough. The warehouse lights flickered again, plunging them all into shadows. Screams, footsteps, and the sound of crashing crates filled the air. And somewhere in the chaos, Lily's safety hung by a thread. The warehouse plunged into darkness. Ethan couldn't see more than shifting shapes, shadows breaking and reforming around him. Metal groaned. Something shattered. Maya's hand slipped from his as bodies collided in the chaos. Maya! Ethan shouted, his voice swallowed by the cavernous echo. I'm here! Her voice cut through the darkness, steady, brave, desperate. Ethan, keep moving! A single flickering emergency light sputtered on overhead, throwing jagged beams across the warehouse. Ethan spotted her, Maya, struggling against one of Cross's men. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward her, slamming into the attacker and sending him sprawling. Maya collapsed against Ethan, trembling as he wrapped his arms around her. "Are you okay?" he breathed, brushing hair from her face. Her eyes searched his. Frightened but fierce. "I am now." Another crash cut through the temporary calm. They spun around. Cross stood on a stack of crates, a gun glinting in his hand. Isabella stood beside him, her arms crossed, her expression cold and triumphant. This time, the light stayed on. The truth lay exposed. "You shouldn't have interfered," Isabella said, her voice dripping ice. "All you had to do was stay broken, Ethan. But instead, you brought her into our world." Her eyes flicked to Maya with a venomous glare. "You replaced me with a nanny." Maya stiffened, but Ethan stepped in front of her. "This isn't about replacement. Whatever twisted game you're playing, it ends now." Cross chuckled. "Oh, it's not a game. It's leverage." Ethan's heart stopped when Cross lifted his phone, and Lily's face appeared on the screen, crying, clutching her stuffed bunny. "No," Ethan whispered, his knees nearly buckling. "Where is she?" "Safe," Isabella said. "For now." Maya gasped, horror ricocheting through her. "How could you? She's a child." Isabella's voice hardened. "A child I carried. A child you stole." Ethan froze. Maya's breath caught. "What are you talking about?" Ethan demanded. "Lily is our daughter." "Our daughter?" Isabella's eyes darkened. "You think everything you were told was true?" Her lips curved into a cruel smile. "There's so much you don't know." Maya stepped forward, fire in her voice. "Whatever secrets you have, whatever lies you spin, none of it will change the fact that Ethan loves Lily. He will burn the world down to protect her." Isabella's expression flickered for a moment. Hurt? Jealousy? Then steeled again. "Maybe. But let's see how far love goes when it's tested." Cross raised the gun, pointing it directly at Maya. Ethan lunged forward instinctively, and no. But Cross didn't pull the trigger. Instead, he smirked. "Not yet. We need the right pressure." He tossed a small metal device at Ethan's feet. A blinking red light pulsed. A bomb. A timed explosive. And it was already counting down. 00:01:58. 00:01:57. 00:01:56. Ethan's breath ripped from his lungs. "What do you want?" Cross's smile widened. "A choice." He pointed to Maya. Then to the image of Lily on the phone screen. "Save the woman you love, or the daughter you can't live without." The ticking grew louder, faster, merciless. Maya shook her head, tears welling. "Ethan, don't you dare choose me. Find Lily. Save her." "No," Ethan whispered, grabbing her face, pressing his forehead to hers. "I'm not losing you. I'm not losing either of you." "Ethan," she sobbed, "you can't save both, there isn't time." And then, a gunshot split the air. The bomb timer jolted. Cross stumbled backward. Someone had fired from the shadows. Ethan turned, eyes wide, heart hammering, because the person emerging from the darkness was holding a gun with shaking hands, and was someone none of them expected. "Step away from my family," the figure said. Ethan's world froze. Maya's lips parted in shock. The figure stepped into the light. And everything shattered. The person stepped out from behind the crates, the gun trembling slightly in their hands, their chest heaving as adrenaline tore through them. Maya gasped. Ethan's breath hitched. Even Cross's smirk faltered. Because standing there, eyes blazing, face streaked with tears, was Lily's nanny before Maya. Hannah Whitlock. The woman who had disappeared 2 months earlier without a word. The woman Ethan assumed had run off, leaving Lily behind. The woman who had cared for Lily like she was her own. But now she stood there, aiming a gun at Isabella and Cross. "Hannah!" Ethan rasped. "You're alive?" Hannah's jaw tightened. "Barely. And not because of you." Maya stiffened beside Ethan. There was something off in Hannah's voice, something raw, trembling, furious. But there was something else too, heartbreak. Hannah looked straight at Ethan. You never even looked for me. Ethan's brows furrowed. They told me you left. They sent a letter. I didn't write it, Hannah snapped, her voice cracking. They took me. They used me. They threatened Lily if I didn't cooperate. Cross chuckled darkly. She was very compliant, until she got stubborn. Hannah fired another shot, this time grazing Cross's arm. He cursed and ducked. Touch her again, Hannah hissed, and I swear I'll finish what I started. Maya swallowed hard, stepping slightly in front of Ethan. She knew betrayal when she saw it, but this wasn't betrayal. This was a woman who had survived something monstrous. Hannah, Maya whispered, where is Lily? Hannah closed her eyes, pain twisting her expression. Safe. I got her out of the building before they brought you here. She's hiding, exactly where she and I planned weeks ago if anything ever went wrong again. Maya exhaled in relief. Ethan nearly fell to his knees. But Isabella simply smiled. You always underestimated her, Ethan, she said softly. Just like you underestimate everyone you care about. Ethan glared at her. You don't get to talk about caring. You faked your death. You let us mourn you. You let Lily grow up without her mother. Something flickered across Isabella's face. Pain, fury, regret? It was impossible to tell. That was the price, she whispered. You don't understand the things I was running from. The people who wanted us dead. I did what I had to. And teaming up with Cross, Maya spat, was the best you could do? Isabella's eyes glistened, barely, but she hardened again. You don't know everything. The bomb's timer beeped loudly. 00:00:59. 00:00:58. Maya grabbed Ethan's hand. We have less than a minute. Hannah turned to them, voice steadying. There's a failsafe. But it's not easy. Cross laughed. Failsafe? You mean the code I changed? Hannah's face went pale. Ethan pulled Maya close. We have to get out, now. No, Hannah said sharply. If we run, this whole place goes up. It'll kill anyone within blocks. Maya froze. Then what do we do? The warehouse seemed to inhale, every breath held, every second racing toward catastrophe. Cross wiped the blood from his arm, grinning again. This is perfect. Better than I planned. You all die, the company crumbles, and I walk away. Isabella stepped closer to Ethan and Maya, her expression unreadable. Not all of us have to die, she murmured. Ethan turned sharply. What are you talking about? Isabella swallowed hard. The bomb. The code. It's biometric. Only one person can disarm it. Maya's heart plummeted. Who? Isabella stepped forward. Me. Ethan shook his head. You can't. But Isabella grabbed his hands, her grip fierce, her eyes filled with something he hadn't seen in years, love twisted by desperation. I wasn't supposed to survive this long, she whispered. They were coming for us from the beginning. I ran to protect you, to protect Lily. This is the only way I can make it right. The bomb screamed. 00:00:25. 24. 23. Maya stared, stunned. Ethan's chest heaved. Hannah held the gun steady. Cross took a step back. And Isabella. She turned, stepping toward the bomb. One final step toward redemption. But then, a shot rang out. A scream tore through the warehouse. And Isabella crumpled to the floor. The timer kept ticking. 00:00:17. 16. 15. Ethan spun around, horror ripping through him. Who fired? He roared. Maya covered her mouth. Hannah lowered her gun slowly, eyes wide, not in triumph, but in shock. I didn't shoot, she whispered. Ethan stared at her, then at Cross, then at the shadows behind them. Someone else was in the warehouse. Someone with perfect aim. Someone who had waited until the exact moment to pull the trigger. A slow, mocking clap echoed from the darkness. A new silhouette stepped forward. Nice to see you again, brother. Ethan's entire world shattered. The slow, taunting clap echoed like a heartbeat as the figure stepped into the thin sliver of moonlight cutting through the warehouse roof. Ethan's breath stopped. Maya's fingers dug into his sleeve. Hannah lifted her gun again, this time with both hands, eyes wide and terrified. Because the man emerging from the shadows looked like Ethan. Not identical, but close enough to freeze every muscle in Maya's body. Same sharp jawline. Same storm gray eyes. Same devastating, controlled presence. Except twisted. Sharper. Colder. "Vince," Ethan whispered, voice cracking with disbelief. "You're supposed to be dead." Vince Blackwood smiled, a slow, bitter curve of the mouth. "Funny," he said. "That's exactly what I thought about Isabella." Ethan staggered backward as realization slammed into him. "You," he choked. "You shot her?" Vince shrugged lightly. "She was about to ruin months of planning. Couldn't have that." Maya stared at Ethan, stunned. "You never told me you had a brother." "Because I didn't," Ethan said, rigid with shock. "My father told me Vince died at birth. There was no record, no mention, nothing." Vince laughed. "Oh, he told you the bedtime version?" He stepped closer. "You were the heir. The golden boy. The one he kept. I was the mistake he hid." Ethan swallowed, the truth finally clicking into place. "What did he do to you?" "What didn't he do?" Vince hissed. "He denied I existed. Locked me away. Trained me like a weapon. Built me for one purpose, to replace you if you ever failed." Maya felt the room tilt. "So all of this," she said softly, "the threats, the kidnapping, the bomb, it was because you wanted the company?" Vince smirked. "Not wanted. Deserved." Cross shifted nervously, blood still dripping from his arm. He started to edge away. But Vince didn't even look at him before pulling the trigger. One clean shot. Cross collapsed instantly. Maya flinched. Hannah gasped. Ethan stepped in front of Maya and Hannah instinctively. Vince finally turned to the bomb, its timer now screaming. 13 seconds, 12:11. He sighed, annoyed. Such a dramatic little device. "But I didn't come here to blow up half the city. I came to finish something." He knelt next to the control panel and entered a sequence of numbers with chilling calm. The timer paused. At 9 seconds. Ethan exhaled shakily. Maya nearly cried with relief. But Vince's expression darkened. "You're welcome," he muttered. "Would have been a shame to kill Lily's father before she's old enough to understand what you took from me." Ethan froze. "What I took?" "Vince, I didn't even know you existed." "Exactly." Vince rose slowly, cocking the gun. "And yet you had everything." Maya tightened her grip on Ethan's arm. Hannah swallowed hard. "If you want revenge, take it on the man who hid you. Not the brother who never knew." "Don't call me that," Vince snapped. The warehouse went dead silent. Then, he turned the gun toward Maya. Ethan lunged. "No." Vince didn't shoot. Not yet. He stared at Maya with unsettling curiosity. "You," he said slowly, "are the reason everything changed. The reason Ethan started asking questions. The reason Lily let slip a name she shouldn't have known." Maya's eyes widened. What name?" Vince's smile chilled her blood. "Mine." Ethan's pulse slammed in his ears. "Lily said your name?" he demanded. "When?" Vince tilted his head. "Children remember things, Ethan. Even things they were told to forget. She heard stories from someone you thought was gone." Ethan's knees nearly buckled. "Isabella," he whispered. Vince nodded. "She told Lily I existed. Told her not to mention it. But children talk when they feel safe." Safe with Maya. Everything snapped together like a trap. Maya stared at Vince, breath trembling. "Is that why you're here? To silence everyone who knows?" "No," Vince said simply. "I'm here because you changed him." He motioned to Ethan. "The perfect heir," Vince sneered. "Cold. Controlled. Unreachable. But then you," his eyes narrowed. "You made him human." Ethan stepped forward, voice shaking with fury. "Vince, don't do this. You don't have to." "Stop." Vince's voice cut like steel. "You don't get to rewrite this story." He cocked the gun. Aimed it at Ethan's chest. Maya screamed. Hannah raised her gun. And then, a soft, familiar whimper drifted from the doorway. Everyone froze. Because standing there, tiny hands clutching her stuffed rabbit, eyes huge and shimmering, was Lily. "Daddy?" she whispered. Ethan's soul cracked open. Maya covered her mouth. Hannah froze in terror. And Vince slowly lowered the gun, something unreadable flickering across his face. Lily took one small, trembling step inside. "Uncle Vince?" she whispered. Ethan's blood ran cold. Vince's hand shook. "Maya," Ethan breathed, voice breaking, "get her out of here." But it was too late. Lily walked right toward the man with the gun. Vince's jaw clenched. His breath hitched. His hand trembled violently. "Don't come closer," he rasped. But Lily kept walking, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You promised," she whispered. Ethan's heart stopped. Maya grabbed his arm. Hannah prayed under her breath. Vince stepped back, eyes wide, haunted. "Promised what?" Ethan demanded. Lily looked up at Vince with utter innocence. "That you'd come back," she said softly. "For me." Vince's mask shattered. And Ethan realized, with soul-wrenching clarity, Vince had known Lily. For a long time. Secretly. But before he could speak, before anyone could move, Vince raised the gun again. Not at Maya. Not at Ethan. Not at Lily. At himself. "Vince, no!" Ethan shouted. But the shot rang out before anyone could stop him. The gunshot cracked through the warehouse like lightning. Lily screamed. Maya froze. Hannah dropped to her knees. Ethan lunged forward, catching Vince before he hit the ground. The gun clattered away, echoing against the concrete. "Vince, stay with me!" Ethan shouted, voice ripping open. But the bullet hadn't gone through his skull. It had grazed the side, blood pouring but not fatal. Vince coughed, eyes squeezing shut. "Damn, I missed." Ethan shook him. "Why would you do that? Why?" Vince's cracked smile trembled. "Because I couldn't shoot you. Or her." His eyes flicked weakly toward Lily. "Not anymore." Lily sniffled, moving toward them, but Maya scooped her up, holding her tight. "It's okay, sweetheart," Maya whispered, rocking her. "You're safe. Daddy's here. I've got you." Hannah rushed to the abandoned bomb panel, checking the frozen numbers. Still at 9 seconds. Still silent. She exhaled in shuddering relief. Maya knelt beside Ethan, Lily clutching her neck. "Is he dying?" Maya whispered. Ethan shook his head. "Not if we get him out of here." "Hannah, call an ambulance." "No need," a weak voice rasped. Everyone turned. Isabella, blood on her shirt, pale but standing, leaned against a crate. Ethan froze. Maya's heart lurched. "Are you alive?" Maya whispered. Isabella nodded once, pain etched into every line of her face. Bullet hit the shoulder. "I've had worse." Vince groaned. "You never could stay dead." Isabella limped forward, kneeling beside her daughter. Lily stared at her, confused, hopeful, cautious. "Mama?" Ethan's breath caught. Maya looked away, the sting unexpected and sharp. Isabella cupped Lily's cheek, tears falling freely now. "I'm here, baby. I should have been here all along." Vince coughed. "You left us both." Isabella looked at him. Really looked. "I'm sorry. For everything. But I'm done running." She reached for the bomb panel, pressing a sequence Vince hadn't entered. A final click echoed. 9 seconds disappeared, replaced by one word. Disarmed. Everyone exhaled at once, like they'd been underwater for minutes. Isabella sat back, exhausted. "It's over." "No," Ethan said quietly, looking at Maya, then Lily, then Vince. "Now it's over." Sunlight poured through the penthouse windows. Lily giggled as she ran across the living room, chasing her stuffed rabbit. Ethan scooped her up, spinning her until she squealed. Maya watched from the doorway, smiling softly. The chaos, the danger, the secrets, they were finally behind them. Vince survived. He was in a secure medical facility, finally receiving treatment for the life he'd been forced into. Ethan visited him often, determined to rebuild something that had never been allowed to exist. Isabella? She didn't stay. Too much had happened. Too many years lost. Too many wounds, some that time might heal, some it wouldn't. But she and Ethan reached peace. Real peace. And she promised Lily she'd return, slowly, carefully, honestly. But as for the family Lily lived with now, Ethan turned toward Maya. She felt her breath catch, as it always did, when he looked at her like that. Like she was the first calm after a lifetime of storms. "Come here," he said softly. Maya walked toward him, heart thudding, and Lily wriggled until Ethan set her down. Lily ran straight into Maya's arms. "Nanny mama," she said firmly, hugging her waist. Maya froze. Ethan's eyes widened. "Maya," Lily said, looking up with a little frown, "I don't want to call you Nanny anymore." Maya knelt, brushing Lily's hair back gently. "What do you want to call me?" Lily smiled, soft, sweet, certain. "Family." Maya's throat tightened. Ethan stepped closer, his voice low. "She's right, you know." Maya looked up at him. "About what?" He offered his hand, hesitant, vulnerable, unguarded in a way she'd never seen before. "That you're not just her nanny." He swallowed. "You're the one who saved us. All of us. A breath. And if you'll let us, I want you to stay." Maya's eyes softened, brimming. "Ethan," she whispered. But he wasn't done. He knelt, too, looking at her levelly, honestly. "I don't need a week. Or a sign. Or a second chance." His voice shook. "I just need you. Stay with us. Build something with us. With me." Lily beamed. Hannah cheered from the kitchen. Even the sunlight seemed to lean in. Maya reached out, taking Ethan's hand in both of hers. "Yes," she breathed. "I'll stay." Lily squealed, hugging them both. Ethan kissed Maya's forehead, pulling her into their small, imperfect, beautiful circle. And for the first time in years, maybe in forever, Ethan felt whole. Maya tucked Lily into bed, smoothing her hair. "Tell me a story?" Lily whispered. "What kind?" Maya asked softly. "The true kind," Lily said, smiling sleepily. "The one about how Daddy found you." Maya brushed a strand of hair behind Lily's ear. "Well," she whispered, "once upon a time, a little girl said something on day 5 that changed everything." "What did she say?" Lily asked. Maya kissed her forehead. She said, "Thank you for loving us." Lily smiled, closing her eyes. "That's a good story." Maya stood, turning off the lamp. From the hallway, arms slid around her waist. "Ethan, ready for bed?" he whispered against her neck. She leaned back into him. "Ready for everything." He kissed her gently. And the door to their past, finally, blessedly, closed behind them.